Mary Ricci has a new product concept, the beach carrier, that she is, really ready to bring to market. Ricci is creative, optimistic, enthusiastic, flexible, and definitely motivated. She is willing to put substantial time into developing and bringing the beach carrier to market. Although she lacks capital, Ricci is unwilling to license or sell the pattern to a manufacturer. She is determined to maintain control and ownership of the product throughout the introduction and market penetration phases. Ricci believes there is a significant amount of money to be made and, well, she refuses to sell her product concept for a flat fee. The beach carrier is a bag large enough to carry everything needed for a day at the beach, including a chair. When empty, the bag can be folded down to a 12-inch by 12-inch square for easy storage. The bag's 36-inch by 36-inch size, adjustable padded shoulder strap, and various sized pockets make it ideal for use in carrying chairs and other items to the beach or other outdoor activities, such as concerts, picnics, and barbecues. The bag can also be used to transport items such as ski boots that are, honestly, difficult to carry. Manufactured in a lightweight, tear-resistant, fade-proof fabric that dries quickly, the bag will be available in a variety of fluorescent as well as conservative colors. Currently, there are a number of competitive products sold online and at major retail outlets that Ricci felt would compete with the beach carrier. Most of the competition comes from either foldable or collapsible carts or wagons that range in price from $39.99 to a deluxe model at $79.99. These carts or wagons will hold a couple of chairs, umbrella, beach towels, blanket, and depending on the model, could hold a boogie board or other beach toy. So, Ricci looked at all of the competitors and, well, her conclusion was that the 4-wheel collapsible wagon as well as the 2-wheel cart would be very difficult to maneuver in the sand. The deluxe model had softer sand wheels, which would definitely be easier to transport over sand, but honestly, the price of this model was just much too high. Her product, which was transported on one's back, simply would not have this problem. The only other indirect competition was from a chair that had straps to carry on your back with pockets to store small items. There were also large cloth carry bags, which, combined with a chair, would allow someone to carry more items. However, Ricci still felt that with her product, all items would be conveniently transported on one's back. If 2 people were going to the beach, then 2 of her products could store significant items to satisfy most consumer needs. Ricci commissioned a consulting company to perform a feasibility study for the product, which included a demographic profile, cost estimates, packaging recommendations, and a patent search. The patent search revealed the above-mentioned products and a chair that could be folded and carried as a small tote bag that could also hold a few small beach items. None of these were felt to be a threat to Ricci's product, and she was optimistic that a patent could be obtained. So, a focus group was used to determine potential consumer response. The results of the focus group indicated that several features of the product should be modified. For example, the material was perceived as durable. However, the fluorescent color was see-through and considered, well, trendy, which actually lessened the perceived quality of the bag. The size also represented an issue as the bag was perceived as much larger than necessary. People who use suntan and sunscreen products have been identified as the primary target market for the beach carrier. Research indicates that 43.9% of the adult U.S. population, or about 77,293,000 people, use suntan and sunscreen products. Of these, 57.8% are female. Assuming that women are the primary purchasers of beach bags, the potential market is estimated at 44,675,000. Beach bags are replaced every 3 years. The market share objectives for the first year of the beach carrier sales have been determined based on the following assumptions. People who use suntan and sunscreen products represent the market for the beach carrier. Most men do not buy beach bags, so we consider women only, which is 57.8% of the population. Women buy new beach bags every 3 years on average. That means 1/3 will buy a new bag this year. So here's Exhibit 1. Let's break down the segments and their percentage of total users of suntan and sunscreen products. For adults aged 18 to 44, it's 66.9%. High school graduates make up 40.2%. Those employed full-time account for 60.5%. People with no child in the household represent 54.5%. And households with an income of $30,000 or more come in at 55.3%. Based on these assumptions, the unit sales needed to achieve market share objectives of 1, 2, and 5% of the total market during the first year of the beach carrier's sales are shown in Exhibit 2. Ritchie is targeting 1% of this potential market. Regional market share objectives can be developed from the same data as seen in Exhibits 3A and 3B. Now let's look at Exhibit 2. The total adult population is 176,251,000. Of those, 77,293,000 use sunscreen, and about 25,764,333 are expected to replace their bag this year. Among females, there are 92,184,000, with 44,671,000 using sunscreen, and 14,890,333 expected to replace their bag. Looking at market share, 1% of total adults is 257,643, 2% is 515,287, 5% is 1,288,217. For females, 1% is 148,903, 2% is 297,807, and 5% is 744,517. Okay, let's take a look at Exhibit 3A. In the Northeast, the population is about 37,366,000, with 17,165,000 sunscreen users and 9,921,370 women. Of those, 3,307,123 are expected to replace their bag this year. Moving to the Midwest, there are 43,426,000 people, 19,630,000 sunscreen users, and 11,346,140 women, with 3,782,047 planning to replace their bag. In the South, the population is 60,402,000, with 23,980,000 sunscreen users, 13,860,440 women, and 4,620,147 expected replacements. The West has 35,057,000 people, 16,518,000 sunscreen users, 9,547,404 women, and 3,182,468 replacements. Altogether, that's a total population of 176,251,000, with 77,293,000 sunscreen users, 44,675,354 women, and 14,891,785 expected to replace their bag this year. Now let's check out Exhibit 3B, which shows market share projections. At 1% market share, the Northeast would have 33,071, the Midwest 37,820, the South 46,201, and the West 31,825. At 2%, the Northeast would reach 66,142, the Midwest 75,641, the South 92,403, and the West 63,649. For 5% market share, the Northeast would have 165,356, the Midwest 189,102, the South 231,007, and the West 159,123. In total, that's 148,917 at 1%, 297,835 at 2%, and 744,588 at 5% market share. Ritchie investigated several methods of marketing the beach carrier, including selling it in upscale stores, like Bloomingdale's, or discount stores, such as Walmart. She also considered licensing the product concept to a manufacturer, selling the idea for a flat fee, selling the bag to corporations for use as a promotional item, selling it on the internet, and even setting up a mail order operation. Ricci believes that the mail order option, while requiring the most effort, will provide higher margins, lower risk, and the overall best fit with Ricci's strengths and weaknesses, her market penetration objectives, and her limited financial resources. The internet could also create opportunities, but Ricci was unsure of this option. So, the mail order strategy will be implemented nationally, using a regional rollout and following a seasonal demand pattern. With 3-month intervals between rollout phases, national market exposure will be achieved within 12 months. Ricci is also exploring how to set up a website with a local university team of student consultants. The product at first will be promoted in novelty and general interest mail order catalogs, as well as special interest magazines that appeal to beachgoers and boat owners. The costs of manufacturing have been estimated at $6.50 per unit for material zippers, Velcro, and so on. The costs for assembly and packaging have been estimated at $3.50 per unit, bringing the total manufacturing cost to $10. After analysis of competitive products and focus group results, a mail order price in the $12.99 to $14.99 range has been established. So, here's how it works. The product will be manufactured at a local New England factory, then drop-shipped to a storage facility, and finally shipped via UPS to the consumer. At first, inventory can actually be carried at no cost in Ricci's house or garage. And, by the way, this same process could also be used if the website is developed. So, a $30,000 small business loan is the minimum amount Ricci needs in order to fund her fixed costs for the first phase of the rollout for the mail order program. Now, marketing the product through traditional retail channels would require approximately $250,000 for advertising and other selling costs associated with a new product introduction. Break-even analysis was performed at 3 mail order prices, as seen in Exhibit 4. On the basis of this analysis, Ricci must meet only 1/4 of her target sales goal, or 1/4% of the total market, in order to break even in the first year. Exhibit 4 details the following. For unit variable costs, materials are $6.50 per unit, with a price contribution of $12.99 and a margin of $2.99. Assembly costs $3 per unit, with a price contribution of $13.99 and a margin of $3.99. Packaging is 50 cents per unit, with a price contribution of $14.99 and a margin of $4.99. The total unit variable cost is $10. For fixed costs across regions, advertising is $25,000 per region, totaling $100,000. Warehousing costs are $266 in the Northwest, $305 in the Midwest, $372 in the South, and $256 in the West, totaling $1,199. General selling and administrative expenses are $2,500 per region, totaling $10,000. The total fixed costs are $277,766 for the Northwest, $27,805 for the Midwest, $27,872 for the South, and $27,756 for the West, with a grand total of $111,199. Break-even units at $12.99 are 9,286 in the Northwest, 9,299 in the Midwest, 9,322 in the South, and 9,283 in the West, totaling 37,190 units, which represents 0.28, 0.25, 0.20, and 0.29% of the total market, respectively, or 0.25% overall. At $13.99, break-even units are 6,959 in the Northwest, 6,969 in the Midwest, 6,985 in the South, and 6,956 in the West, totaling 27,869 units, or 0.21, 0.18, 0.15, and 0.22% of the total market. or 0.19% overall. At $14.99, break-even units are 5,564 in the Northwest, 5,572 in the Midwest, 5,586 in the South, and 5,562 in the West, totaling 22,284 units, or 0.17, 0.15, 0.12, and 0.17% of the total market, or 0.15% overall. Here are some questions to consider. First, what is the nature of the product? Second, what are its strengths and weaknesses? Third, what are the limitations to the assumptions Ricci has made in determining the market potential, and what risks do these present? Fourth, how can Ricci protect her product design? Fifth, what are the pros and cons of the mail order marketing strategy? Sixth, what are the pros and cons of each of the alternative distribution methods, and can you provide rationale for each of the alternatives? Seventh, which distribution method should she use and why? Eighth, what are some of the manufacturing issues Ricci will face? And finally, is the financing sufficient to fund the roll out of the beach carrier as planned, and why or why not?